Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is How Scientific is Science? By Manly P. Hall. An article taken from Horizon, the magazine of useful and intelligent living. Volume 1, number 5, January 1942. Science still looks upon metaphysics as an abstract dream, whereas its knowledge exists as demonstrable fact. How Scientific is Science? By Manly P. Hall. By the very nature of a wartime emergency, it is a certainty that invention and engineering will develop astounding new techniques and perfected devices. In this all-out effort, science no doubt will concentrate almost wholly in the field of physics, with little or no stimulation to be expected in the realm of metaphysics. The gateway to the superphysical stands wide open. A change in science's attitude is overdue. Science, to the average individual, is a word that stands for certainty and not abstraction. It means the material fact. It is assumed to be based in mental honesty. What the man of science says is not considered to be his opinion, but his findings based upon years of laboratory experiment and study. It is supposed that every human fallacy has been eliminated, and that rightly the tone may be oracular when the scientist offers an ultimatum. The bald truth is that science frequently issues pronouncements in tone of ultimate finality about things with which the scientist has not only not experimented, but does not know the slightest thing about. The soul has no existence, said a certain scientist. He knows nothing about it. But inquire as to the authority behind his statement, and you will meet with a stern rebuke. You are not to question science. In an attribute of infallibility, men have long been palming off their opinions as cosmic fact. The scientific world cannot have laymen regarding any scientist as ignorant. The public would lose faith. There must be theories, and someone has to believe them. When science remains in the realms of chemistry, physics, and biology, it has one foot on the ground. It is a different story when its theories extend into another province. Science is obligated to tell the world what has been done, not to tell the world what cannot be done. That is one thing science knows nothing about. Most scientists insist that the universe consists of physical matter, physical elements, physical law. To these laws there is no variation or exception. And you are not to believe anything, even though you see it, unless science has established for it a basis of formulated opinion. It is an attitude which these words of one scientist justify. If you are in the presence of something that is not known, do not accept it. It is too dangerous. In other words, man is not to consider as sources of possible knowledge any facts of the universe which are greater than the scientific concept. Science spends much time hushing up that which it cannot explain, even against the evidence of the five senses of thoroughly reliable persons, supported by documentary attestation. This attitude was not suited to a man named Charles Fort. Some years ago, he culminated a period of investigation with a magnificent exposé of the fallacies of human knowledge. The books he wrote cost him his job. He was asked to resign his connection with an important museum. Dr. Fort's works are not speculation. They are scientifically annotated and completely irrefutable. He did not attack the great findings of science, but the subject of his writings is science is already in possession of knowledge of the metaphysical world, but will not admit it. In presentation of each fact, he states where it came from, submits proof of scientific knowledge, annotated by scientific reports, and naming the scientific organization which examined it. No one quoted came forward to deny or contradict him, but his resignation was asked for, his professional connection severed. This attitude is not scientific. Laymen resented it, and a group of brilliant and popular writers of the day gathered together to head up an organization which they have named the Fortean Society, formed to carry on investigation of the metaphysical facts that science has ignored. Dr. Fort's books record many things of vast importance in report of his investigations and confirming of the opinions of others. One discovery is, it is possible for solid objects to be moved instantly across the earth. It is possible for a human being to move from one side of the earth to the other instantly. He discovered it is possible for one solid to pass through another solid. These things are so contradictory and opposed to our knowledge that we are staggered by them, but they are facts, and there is scientific proof of them. They are facts too big for the body of science, which, rather than admit them, ignores them. If the average scientist should be asked why these things have not been revealed, His answer would be that they would so confuse the public mind that no one would thereafter know what to believe. Dr. Fort's works include levitation in the movement of a solid substance through space. It is known, but there is no explanation for it, so acceptance, thinks science, would be dangerous to established knowledge. And so, as science goes about proving the distortion of cosmic rays, interesting but not practical, the major motion of the problem is ignored, which is the metaphysical theory of being. That universal truth is based upon the reality of the superphysical. Far more vital than knowing the number of electrons in an atom is knowledge of whether this physical sphere is surrounded by a superphysical sphere, whether man as a physical entity is sustained by a superphysical entity. But this is metaphysics, and science feels that it must ignore such fields of investigation. This has been going on for a long time. There was a boy in Los Angeles who was capable of levitating objects. Without touching them, he could cause them to rise off the floor and stay in suspension. This ability became well known. He was photographed doing it. There could be no doubt of the fact that here was levitation. Science, in the presence of the fact, could not explain it, so there must be strings, it concluded, and went about other business. They couldn't see the strings. No one else has been able to find them. But it was better for science to believe in strings than pursue what the layman thinks is the end of science, knowledge. Actually, and many times in many places throughout the world, wherever knowledge refutes accepted beliefs, science keeps to the accepted beliefs. Dr. Fort, in one of his books, details the examination of oil which materialized in the air about 1 inch below the roof of a house in England. Hogsheads of the oil have been taken out. Hordes of scientists have examined every part of the house. There are no pipes or tubes. Photographs show that the ceiling is not even stained by oil. By all methods of scientific proof, there is no fraud. Dense oil manifests out of thin air, and that's that, so far as science is concerned. An oil source is the most vital need of any nation engaged in modern warfare. But in the face of this materialization of dense matter out of thin air, science demands that we continue to believe that crude oil comes only from down deep in the earth, where we have always believed it came from. Wherever any metaphysical factors are at work, we find a desperate effort to refute them. As much as we can admire science's contributions to our well-being, the scientist stands against his own principles when he conceals facts and stubbornly holds out against a fact as not being a fact because it is a metaphysical fact. Metaphysics is no longer an abstract dream. It is time for it to be included in the exact sciences. Metaphysical knowledge is demonstrable fact. And as Lord Bacon said, the purpose of science is to find out all that is knowable. Condensation from a public lecture. Suggested reading, The Mystery of Electricity. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.